Wi-Fi Sheep would like to say a huge thank you to all of you that kindly support us. Help us continue to bring new videos like this. Join patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep from just $1 a month. Hi everyone, how are you doing? And a very warm welcome back to youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep with me, Tom. Before we get into today's video, and assuming you are watching this in September or October, so basically before November 2024, then a quick reminder, I'm going to be at this year's Retro Computer Festival in Cambridge, England. It's happening on November the 9th and 10th, that's a Saturday and a Sunday, at the Centre for Computing History, Cambridge, England. Let me just show you the page at time of recording. This is the page for the event, and it has now been updated with a list of exhibitors. And there I am, Wi-Fi Sheep. But just look at all the other, so many other exhibitors. I honestly don't know quite where we're all going to fit into the museum. The rate we're going, I might be seeing you in the car park. But it's a really impressive list this year. So seriously, if you can, do consider trying to make the event. You will need to book in advance. This is going to be oversubscribed. Prices are on screen now, and you just need to head over to computinghistory.org.uk. I will put a link in the description to this video. Be great to see you, great to have your company. I intend to be there, well, I will be there for both days, and I intend to be on the exhibition floor wherever I end up being put in the two rooms that are mainly used. And I'm there for you to come and say hello to. And I'm really looking forward to having good chats about computing and anything and everything in between. So on to today's video, and it's a SepTANDY video. So what is SepTANDY? Well, various groupings of computer enthusiasts like to have a sort of month-long events in which they build content and then hashtag it online for others to pick up. So for example, the Apple Macintosh community have the March-intosh event where they post videos about the Mac during March. And the Tandy community, and that includes the Tandy TRS, AT and Colour Computer, have the SepTANDY event. And that's the one I've tried to sort of pick up on today. Now, I have to be completely honest, I don't actually own a single piece of Tandy or Radio Shack hardware. I certainly don't own a Colour Computer or the other derivatives. So the Colour Computer in particular was based around the Motorola 6809, and it was what was called a reference design, which means other manufacturers could build microcomputer products that were kind of compatible with each other. So a good example of this would be the Alice in France or the Dragon 32 or 64 here in the UK. All these machines kind of look the same as in how they operate, and they are sort of compatible with each other. I have to be honest, again, it's not a sort of something I grew up with or particularly know a lot about, but luckily I don't have to know a lot about it or own any hardware to take part in the SepTANDY. Thanks to the amazing Coco community, that's the Colour Computer community, they got together and they actually built a free download disk image for Raspberry Pi called Coco Pi, which includes everything you need to emulate the various 6809 and derivative systems, including the ability to download legally lots of the games and software, as well as use some of the operating system platforms available for the devices. So that's what we're going to look at today. For the very first time here on Wi-Fi Sheep, we're going to look at Coco Pi, the Tandy Colour Computer, part of SepTANDY. This is the Coco Pi project, and you can find it online at coco-pi.com, and it is a Raspberry Pi Raspbian Linux download image. And what's great is it's completely free and it's a community driven project, so people like us who want to maybe experience Tandy, Radio Shack, Colour Computer type software and operating systems can do so, and all we actually need is this download. And in my case, I've gone for a stock Raspberry Pi 400. This is going to be my hardware of choice, and I've gone for a rather large 64 micro SD card, 64 gig micro SD card. This image that they give you is quite large, put it that way. So we go to downloads. There's a couple of images. The latest download is here. So the latest universal community image, now 64-bit, which runs on, you can see it there, Pi 3B, 4 and Pi 400. At the time of recording, I don't think they've done Pi 5 compatibility, but the 400 is more than sufficient. So here we have the community edition. So we'll download this zip, 16 gigabytes. So it's going to come down as a 4.7 gig download. So it needs a minimum of a 16 gig image. And they're suggesting here you can either use Belina Etcher or Win32 Disk Imager. We're going to use Belina Etcher as our go-to. So we're just going to let this download. And when it downloads, we'll come back. And in the meantime, if I can, let me see if I can actually open my SD card, get it out of its packet. There we go. Probably don't need the adapter. There's the SD card. So I'm going to use 64 gig, which is a large card. And I've got here an adapter because my PC board doesn't have I say SD card, micro SD card slot. So we'll plug this in. Should we get the right one? There we go. Okay, this is probably already formatted for FAT. Most of them are normally formatted for FAT, so it should be ready to go. And when our download has finished, we'll look at flashing that with Belina Etcher onto this card. Okay, I think we're downloaded. That honestly took its sweet time to download properly. So if you are going to download this, it's not a horrendously big file, and even though I have a fast fibre connection here, it's quite slow on the server end for Cocoa Pi. So you need to obviously give yourself a couple of hours to get that to download. So anyway, there we are. So there is the image, and let's just extract that. Extract all. Yeah, I'll put it in downloads in a minute. Now this is purely my machine being slow now to extract. So we're going to expand out from 4 to 16 gigabytes. So it's got a big image, and that's what we'll then flash using Belina Etcher up to the SD card. Okay, so we're done, and we have our image file here. So if we now go and open, if we find it, Belina Etcher, and we'll select flash from file. There we go. Click on that image. Make sure it looks weird having a drive that big, but yep, that's fine. We're going to go there, so we'll select that drive. We'll just cancel that for the moment. Okay, sometimes it will pop up like that if it has issues, because obviously it's now unmounted the drive, or the D drive, in this case the SD card, in order to start flashing. So if it does that, just ignore it. It seems to be a bit of a quit with Windows 11. Not familiar with it doing it in 10. So if you're using Windows 11 like I am and Belina Etcher, it just seems to sometimes throw a little bit of a wobbly if you've got the windows of a mounted drive that you're actually flashing to actually open. So we'll just let this write and verify, and then we'll come back. Right, so that's now been downloaded to the micro SD card. That took a little while, so it's actually now night. It's taken that long, but anyway, we're here. So now let's put that into Pi 400. Let's flip over so hopefully you'll be able to see what I see, and let's see if this works. So this is the first boot of this custom Cocoa Pi image. So created by the community, and it's based on, if you like, the stock Raspbian, what it used to be called Raspbian here, so it's now Raspberry Pi OS. Password. Interesting. Is it just Pi? Is it Raspberry? Is it the default? Try that. Yes, that looks promising. Okay, there we are then. So it's a custom setup, desktop, custom. Basically, you've got the graphic user interface of the, is it Pixel OS, isn't it? Or Pixel Desktop, whatever Raspberry Pi called themselves. Anyway, yep, that's looking good. My data's a little out of whack, so we haven't got data connection at the moment, so we can set up the Wi-Fi, or we could put a hardwire cable in if we wanted. First thing we need to do then is head over to terminal, and we type menu. This gives us the custom menu for Cocoa Pi, and I think we want to go down to 13 utilities menu, and we want to go to Cocoa Pi administration menu, I think, and then want to go to run Raspberry Pi config. We just say OK. This then takes us through to the standard Raspberry and Raspberry Pi config menu that we've seen before. So we go advanced options, and we want to expand the file system. Excellent. And we will need to do a reboot. So basically that's taken what is a 16 gig image and it's actually expanded it into the full 64 gig that we've got on the card. And we're going to need that because very shortly we're going to hopefully be able to add a lot of content onto this card. Again, it comes offline from the community. And yeah, that's why I think this is brilliant, basically, because there's just so much stuff ready to go, which means you don't really need to know what you're doing, which is useful in our case. Not quite sure about the password thing. That has thrown me a little bit. The password is just Raspberry. Oh. Just make sure you actually do type it correctly. There we go. Okay, so next we're going to look at adding data connection. So we need to be able to download additional content from the internet. You can set up the Wi-Fi as you would for any standard Raspberry connection for the Pi 400. I'm just going to be a little bit lazy and I'm just going to put a Ethernet cable straight in and go via wire straight into my router because it's just a bit easier to deal with, in all honesty. Okay, so we should now have, yes, and we do now have an internet connection. That's great. Let's go back to terminal and menu, to utilities menu. There's a lot of things on here actually. It's under utilities, Cocoa Pi download menu. Okay, so we need to download ROM images. Press any key to start. Press any key to continue. Okay, that was good. Physix is a operating system that we won't do now, but we will take Nitros-9 EOU image. Now that's got a little bit of size to it. It's not huge, but it's got a little bit of size to it. So this will take a few moments just to come through. That's done. And then we need to download Ultimate SDC image. Download the games. You can see how all of a sudden you can start building quite a big collection of files and data, hence why it's useful to have the big SD card on the system. It's just nice how this is all set up for you, which just makes life so much easier. Okay, so that's I think pretty much through the menu system, but you've also got some really nice basic emulators here. So MAME, you've got Color Computer, MC10, XRAW is the Dragon, links to online emulators, retro computing links here, which is nice, Pi Drive Wire, Cocoa Pi that I think is just going to load. Is that the website? Is that their website? Oh, that I think is actually the menu options. So I think we can just go, oh yeah, there we go. Main menu, and you can actually launch what you want. Now, one thing I do want to show you is a rather cool operating system called OS 9. It's been around pretty much since the dawn of time, as far as I can work out. But it is currently still maintained and updated by the community, and the latest version is called Nitros-9 Ease of Use Edition. And if you included that when we did the setup, then you'll find it actually here as a ready to go option. So from the menu, we need to select Tandy Color Computer Free. Very important we select free, this one here. And then we have a whole host of different setup for Color Computer Frees. And what we want to select is down here at the bottom is Nitros-9 EOU, Ease of Use Edition. So we click OK. And this will launch, or should launch, a MAME window. And you'll see it actually starts to automatically type for you, so you don't have to do anything. You can literally let Nitros-9 boot up. Notice it uses a 6309, which I think was a Hitachi, or Hitachi variant of the original Motorola part. And I know some owners of Tandy Color Computer Frees, which were never sold here in the UK, have actually swapped their CPUs over in order to run this latest version. So here we are. This is, well, you can see it's the latest version here. So 2022 from alcotespal.com. Now it will ask you here for time and date. Let's just maximize up a window. There we go. So we don't have to put that in. Just hit return or enter. We give it a minute just to load in graphics and patterns. I quite like here that it says if you want to run the GUI, the GUI, just type G shell, which is good because I wouldn't have known that otherwise. So let's just go G shell. There's also a slight clicking sound every time you press a key. Okay, and this is G shell. Now, I will be honest with you, prior to doing the recording, I did actually hop into G shell just to set it up. So you may find it does funny colors and views. So if we go to view, actually if I can figure out, is it X, one of these, is it? X, yes it's X, sorry. And we go to control. Right, you hear that clicking, I'll come back to that clicking in a minute. You can actually set up window size, etc, etc. And you've also got display options. And there's some presets. You can set it to RGB and there's presets. I think it sets to the red or blue by default, so I actually set it to the grey set. Which I think is correct. I don't know, standard palette. No, we'll go with that. So you just hit load. And then exit. You can set all sorts of other things up. You can turn that clicking off, so you can hit off on the clicking. Now, mouse, just to watch this, I actually thought, oh, I'll set it to high res mode. It defaults to low res mouse mode. If you set it to high res, MAME is set up for low res, so your mouse stops working. And I had a little bit of an option trying to, time rather, trying to get that rectified. But yep, that's all looking good. So we've got a boot up option. So it's actually a really interesting and now community-led operating system. So we'll say, yeah, save those settings. Now, you might notice that I'm in a window. So I've got my Linux cursor, the black cursor, and you can see how basically I've got two cursors rolling around on the screen at once. I've got the white of Nitros-9 and I've got the black of the Linux OS Raspbian underneath. What I should be able to do is, I believe you go on the keyboard, and I say believe because I couldn't get this to work the other day. So on the keyboard here, if you go Alt and Enter, and it does work, can actually now go full screen. So Alt, Enter or Return, can toggle you in and out of windowed mode. I'm told if you're in full screen mode, you don't get all this random clicking anymore, which is good. So, and there we go. So we can double click. Well, I was told we didn't get the random clicking, but that still sounded like random clicking to me, which is something to do with how MAME is set up. By the way, Tab brings up the MAME menu, but you can hear there's a lot of interference on that. And there is a way of setting up the keyboard, system information. There is probably a way of solving this awful clunkiness. So Nitros-9 has a number of different games things. I'll be honest with you, I don't understand how this works fully, so I'm still learning pretty much as I'm making the video. But there's all sorts of things like games, there's software. It is loaded with lots of stuff to play with. There's actually some WAV files, so it does support some as basic basic files. You've got WAVs, you've got audio files. It's support. It'd be surprising actually how many file formats it actually supports. So if we go back like that, and we've got games. There's level 1 and level 2 games. That's the. There was 2 versions of Nitros-9. There was or OS9. Sorry. There's level 1, which I think was the original, and then level 2, which is the enhanced. So it's nothing to do with game levels. It's actually how the software executes on the system. That's my understanding. As I said, I'm not an expert on this, so this is what I've sort of gleaned from time. But anyway, so we have lots of different games: adventure, arcade, board game, card game, strategy. If we go in arcade, for example, so things like classic Space Invaders, Tetris, Cubert, you get the idea. And we just double click to launch. Okay, for keyboard. But the sound is not great. And I don't know if that's because I've not set something up, or if it's a configuration issue in MAME. I was told full screen mode sorted this out, but possibly not. We also do seem to be running very, very slowly. It's probably a way of fixing that, but yeah, so basically Q quits back out of applications. I'm just wondering, I don't know this for sure, if I've got like a basic paint package or something, because we have been looking at sort of all the de facto paint software. What have we got? I don't know, that might ID, not sure. You need something that literally says paint or draw, don't you, really? What's that do? Okay. Create. Right, so yeah, something isn't quite right here. So you've got an icon creator. I suppose it's alright if you turn the sound off, you don't get that constant popping, but there might be a paint program in here somewhere. Let's just quit. Yes, exit. So yeah, it's an interesting thing to play with. I just need to play with it a bit more, like most of the other OSs we've featured, or desktop GUIs, just because I don't really know what I'm doing, which must be really infuriating if you are watching this and you're used to using OS9, or heaven forbid you actually develop OS9. You're thinking, what is he talking about? He doesn't know what he's doing. And I openly admit, I don't know what I'm doing. But it is, just as a computer and retro enthusiast and hobbyist, it's very interesting just to play with and have a look. And there's so much to look at for a computer platform and system that, I'll be honest with you, as I said at the start of the video, I don't know much about. Just going to add this. This is a prime example of why some of the software is still very much in beta. I'm not sure what I've done, mainly because I don't know what I'm doing. I seem to have slightly messed up. So I think we've sort of slightly broken. Yeah, we've sort of broken. Oops. Okay. We may need to just restart. We'll quit the emulation. There we go. Yeah, so just one thing to watch out, especially if you're kind of just randomly clicking everything, trying to figure out what stuff does. One or two little glitches there, but oh well, it's to be expected. We have to remember this is all completely free. and it's still absolutely fantastic. So we can allow a few little, you know, gremlins in the system here and there. So it really is an extremely impressive piece of work, and I just love the fact that it's a community that just wanted to get together to share their platform with anyone and everyone who'd be interested, regardless if you are an existing user, returning user, or like me, a brand new novice user. If you don't have any hardware, it didn't matter. They created an image that you could run on the pretty common and relatively inexpensive Raspberry Pi 3, 4, or 400, and we've been running it, as you've seen, on the 400, and you get to play with the games, the software, and the systems that this community enjoy. And I've really enjoyed just sort of scratching the surface. We haven't done an awful lot. There's an awful lot more in this distribution that we really, as I said, haven't really looked at or got into. I just wanted to show you briefly a few things that really interested me, including Nitros-9, which I think is a fantastic project. If you want to find out more, I'll put some more links in the description to this video, so you can follow and have a look yourself at all the amazing project work going on within the field of the 6809 based computing systems. A quick reminder before I go, I'm going to be exhibiting at this year's Cambridge Retro Computer Festival, Cambridge, England, at the Centre for Computing History. The dates are the 9th and 10th of November 2024. It'll be fantastic to see you. Details to that are in the description to this video. Remember, you must pre-book tickets. It is unlikely you're going to be able to get in on the day. The thing is probably going to be oversubscribed, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you all in person. If you haven't done so already, please do consider liking and subscribing, and hope to see you real soon right here on the channel. Stay tuned, our patrons and channel members are coming up next. Until next time, bye for now.